The Tuesday dinner started normally enough. Mom passed the roasted chicken while Dad poured wine for everyone except me. I'd stopped drinking after finding the lump 3 weeks earlier. So the biopsy results come back Friday, I said, cutting into my green beans. Dr. Chen said to bring someone with me. It's at 2 o'clock. My sister Jessica looked up from her phone. This Friday, the 15th? Yes, he specifically said not to come alone for results like these. That's the day we leave for the cruise, Jessica said, her voice flat. The table went silent. Dad set down his wine glass. Mom stopped mid-chew. Could you maybe reschedule? Mom asked carefully. We leave at noon. The ship departs at 4. I'd been expecting this. The Caribbean cruise had been planned for 6 months. Jessica's 40th birthday celebration. 7 days, all-inclusive, 4 cabins. My parents had paid $15,000 non-refundable. Dr. Chen said this appointment couldn't wait. The urgency of the biopsy. But it's probably nothing, Jessica interrupted. These things usually are. My friend Deborah had 3 biopsies. All came back benign. Dad nodded. Statistically, most lumps aren't cancerous. Especially at your age. You're only 32. I understand the statistics, I said quietly. But he was very specific about not rescheduling. Honey, we can't lose $15,000, Mom said. And it's Jessica's 40th. We've been planning this for months. My brother David, home from his second year of medical school, hadn't looked up from his phone. Can't you just get the results over the phone? Or wait until we get back? It's only a week, the doctor said. Doctors always say everything is urgent, Jessica cut in. It's how they keep you anxious. Look, if it were really serious, they'd fit you in earlier or stay late. The fact that it's a regular appointment time means it's probably routine. I looked around the table. Mom and Dad were both physicians. Dad a cardiologist, Mom an internist. Jessica was a nurse practitioner. David would be a doctor in 2 years. They were my family. They were also medical professionals, who should understand what "don't come alone for these results" actually meant. I'd really appreciate if someone could stay, I said. Just one person. Even just David, since his semester doesn't start until the cruise is non-refundable. Dad said firmly. We've been over this, and frankly you're being a bit dramatic. If the news were going to be that serious, they wouldn't schedule it on a Friday afternoon. Have a wonderful vacation, I said softly. I'll handle it myself. Mom reached across and squeezed my hand. That's my girl. You'll see, it'll be nothing, and you'll have worried us all for no reason. We'll celebrate when we get back. Friday morning, I watched from my apartment window as Dad's SUV pulled away, loaded with luggage. They were heading to the port 3 hours early to board. I'd received a group text at 6 a.m., so excited. See you in a week. Don't worry about your appointment. Everything will be fine. At 1:45 p.m., I sat in Dr. Chen's waiting room, alone. The nurse called my name at 2:03. I followed her down the familiar hallway, past the examination rooms, to Dr. Chen's office. Not an exam room, his office. That's when I knew. Dr. Chen stood when I entered. He was a kind man in his 50s, who'd delivered hundreds of difficult diagnoses in his career. He looked at the empty chair beside me. No one could make it, he asked gently. Family emergency, I lied. They're out of town. He sat down slowly. I'm very sorry. The biopsy results show invasive ductal carcinoma, stage 3A. It's aggressive, and it's spread to your lymph nodes. The room tilted. I heard him talking about treatment options, oncology referrals, surgery scheduling, but the words came through water. Stage 3, cancer, lymph nodes. Do you have someone who can drive you home? He asked. Yes, I lied again. At 3:47 p.m., sitting in my car in the medical center parking lot, I sent a text to the family group chat. It's cancer. Stage 3, spread to lymph nodes. Starting treatment planning Monday. The message showed as read almost immediately. I watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. 6 hours later, at 10:23 p.m., Jessica replied, OMG, that's terrible. So sorry you're going through this. Nothing from Mom or Dad. The next morning, Jessica's Instagram story showed her at the ship's pool with a cocktail. Best vacation ever. #blessed #sister vaca. That weekend, I did something I'd never done before. I screenshot everything, every text message, every Instagram story, every Facebook post from the cruise. Mom and Dad at the captain's dinner. David trying rock climbing on the ship. Jessica's daily vacation mode updates. I saved the voicemail from Dr. Chen's office. This is a reminder about your oncology consultation Monday at 9 a.m. Please bring a family member or support person. I photographed the empty chair next to me in the oncology waiting room. Monday's appointment lasted 3 hours. The oncologist Dr. Williams outlined the treatment plan: surgery to remove the tumor and affected lymph nodes, followed by 6 rounds of chemotherapy. The social worker gave me folders about support groups, financial assistance, and caregiver resources. Where's your family today? Dr. Williams asked. Still on vacation, I said. They'll be back Friday. She and the social worker exchanged a look I'd seen before. We're here for you, the social worker said, sliding her card across the table. You don't have to do this alone. But I was alone, scheduling surgery alone, learning about chemotherapy alone, signing consent forms alone. Tuesday, the family group chat lit up with photos from Cozumel. Wednesday brought pictures from ziplining excursions. Thursday, they were snorkeling. I was meeting with the hospital financial counselor, learning that my out-of-pocket maximum was $8,000. I hadn't told my job yet. I didn't know how I'd afford rent during treatment. Friday evening, they came home tanned and relaxed. Jessica knocked on my door Saturday morning with a resort gift shop bag. We brought you a t-shirt and this cute dolphin figurine. Behind her stood Mom, Dad, and David, all carrying luggage and duty-free shopping bags. How are you feeling? Mom asked, kissing my cheek. Scared, I said honestly. Surgery is scheduled for next Friday. Chemo starts 3 weeks after that. See, you're handling it, Dad said. We knew you'd be fine. I'm not fine. I have stage 3 cancer. But you're getting treatment, Jessica said. That's what matters. And honestly, we couldn't have done anything by sitting in doctors' offices with you. We would have just been waiting around. David nodded. Patient outcomes aren't affected by family presence during consultations. The medical decisions would have been the same. I looked at these 4 people, 2 doctors, a nurse practitioner, and a medical student. My family. I needed you, I said quietly. I sat alone and heard stage 3 cancer. I sat alone and learned about losing my hair. I sat alone and signed papers about what to do if I died during surgery. Don't be dramatic, Mom said. Stage 3 has very good survival rates with modern treatment. You're guilt-tripping us for taking one vacation, Jessica added. We're allowed to have lives. You know, we can't drop everything every time you have an appointment. It wasn't just an appointment. It was a cancer diagnosis. And we're sorry we weren't there, Dad said. But we're here now. What do you need? What I needed was for someone to have been there when it mattered. What I needed was for my family of medical professionals to have understood what "don't come alone" meant. What I did instead was pull out my laptop. That Sunday, I spent 8 hours organizing everything. Timeline spreadsheet, family informed of important appointment, family chose cruise, diagnosis received alone, family continued vacation while I planned treatment, screenshots folder, text messages, Instagram posts, Facebook updates, medical appointment confirmations. Monday I had a consultation with an attorney. Tuesday I filed formal complaints with the state medical board against both my parents. Professional ethics violation. Abandonment of immediate family member during medical crisis. Wednesday I filed a complaint with the state nursing board regarding Jessica. Thursday I submitted a character fitness concern to David's medical school. I didn't tell them. I just filed, attached my documentation, and waited. The letter arrived 2 weeks later, delivered to my parents' house on a Tuesday afternoon. Dad called me immediately. What the hell is this? A medical board investigation. I documented what happened, I said calmly. I was 3 days post-surgery, sitting in my apartment with drainage tubes still in place. You reported us to the board, your own parents. You abandoned your daughter during a cancer diagnosis to go on vacation. As physicians, you knew better. This is insane. We didn't abandon a patient. You're our daughter. The board will make that determination. Mom got on the phone. Sweetheart, you're upset. You're going through treatment. You're not thinking clearly. Please withdraw this complaint. I was thinking very clearly when I sat alone and heard stage 3. We'll lose our licenses, our careers. You made your choice on the day you boarded that cruise. Jessica called an hour later, hysterical. The nursing board is investigating me. Are you kidding? I could lose my NP license. You posted pool selfies while I learned about chemotherapy. That's not illegal. That's not unethical. You're destroying our lives. I'm just documenting what you did. If it was ethical, the board will dismiss it. David's call came last. Medical school is reviewing my character fitness. This could delay my graduation. This could cost me match day. You said patient outcomes aren't affected by family presence. Maybe the ethics committee agrees. Maybe they don't. The investigation took 6 weeks. I was halfway through chemotherapy when the hearings were scheduled. The medical board heard my parents' case first. I sat in the gallery, wearing a wig, while they and their attorney argued that family relationships fell outside professional ethics jurisdiction. Then the board heard from Dr. Chen, who testified about the importance of support during cancer diagnosis delivery. The social worker described finding me alone at every appointment. Dr. Williams explained that she'd never seen a stage 3 cancer patient navigate treatment completely without family support. The board reviewed the timeline, the vacation booking, my request for someone to stay, the text messages, the Instagram posts time-stamped during my diagnosis. The respondents are not just parents, the board chair said. They are physicians. They understand the psychological impact of cancer diagnosis. They understand the medical standard of don't deliver serious news to patients alone. They chose vacation over their daughter's cancer diagnosis, then continued that vacation while she navigated treatment planning alone. This represents a fundamental breach of the ethical standards we expect from physicians. 2-year probation, public reprimand, mandatory ethics training. Dad lost his department head position. Mom was removed from consideration for chief of staff. Jessica's nursing hearing was shorter. 1-year probation. Ethics coursework required. Her hospital asked her to resign. David's medical school required an additional semester of ethics studies and delayed his graduation. The local newspaper ran the story. Then the medical ethics blogs picked it up. Then it went viral. Doctors choose vacation over daughter's cancer diagnosis, spread through social media like wildfire. Medical students debated it in ethics classes. The hospital where my parents worked received hundreds of comments. A local cervical cancer support group saw the story and started a fundraiser. Strangers donated $75,000 to cover my medical bills and living expenses. People I'd never met sent cards to my apartment. We're sorry your family failed you. You're not alone. They were right. I wasn't alone anymore. 6 months after diagnosis, I sat in Dr. Williams' office for my post-chemo scan results. Clean, she said, smiling. No evidence of disease. You're cancer-free. I cried. Not because my family wasn't there. I'd brought my friend Morgan, who'd driven me to every chemo appointment. I cried because I'd survived. That night, Mom texted. Heard the good news. We're so proud of you. Can we talk? I looked at the message for a long time, looked at the scan results on my fridge, looked at the photos from my cancer-free celebration, with Morgan and the support group members, who'd become my chosen family. I typed the medical board said everything that needed to be said. Then I blocked the number. Some choices are permanent. They chose vacation. I chose documentation. The board chose consequences. I chose survival, surrounded by people who actually showed up.